Welcome back. Let's begin our class. Everyone come to position, charge up, and then good bow. Kenya. All right, shake those arms out. Let's get to move around. We're going to be doing some jiu-jitsu stuff today. We're going to work on something called reverse side control or reverse side mount, whichever way you want to look at it. Essentially, instead of turning belly down or belly towards your face and doing a sit there, we're going to do it the opposite direction. All right, let's get the legs warmed up. We're going to do a simple bounce drill. So in and out. Feet hop in and out. Oh, we're going to get the muscles flowing. I just like to get the blood flowing. Unlike Mr. Anderson, I didn't work out 10 minutes ago, so I got to get warmed back up again. My workout was earlier this morning. Forward and back. Just hopping those legs front and back. Oh, man. Crisscross. Crisscross and forward and back. See if you can keep going. Forward and back, crisscross. Side to side. You're skiing. Imagine you're skiing in the grass because there's no more snow. All right, we're still going, I think we just lost our live feet, so you gotta give me a second. All right, so we're gonna take those legs, start high stepping first. Oh, yeah, just work on get them high. Like you're walking through some really deep weeds, right? So you're going up, up, up. Now start to regular jog, so maybe get them up to waist level. We'll get that heart rate back up, I promise. Let's start to go lower jog, but faster until you're just really low and you're chopping. And then back to regular jog and relax. All right, we're gonna have a seat, we're gonna stretch. I'm sorry, I need to adjust a few more things for the live people, but have a seat. Let's get our legs stretched out. I'm gonna do just a little bit of chatting, and then we're gonna get started with our show as promised. All right, there we go. We're getting back into the normal swing of things again. Oh, man. All right, so we have one leg out, we have one leg in. We're getting those legs loose. Something we're talking about this week is perseverance. And my live people are going to deal with a little bit of perseverance right now because I'm expected to show up to a flawless class. And our video machine quit, so you don't experience that at home, but the people who are live right now just experience the machine stopping. And what we're talking about this week is what is perseverance. Perseverance is when you persist, even when there's difficulty, essentially, right? So you have something you're expecting to be easy, right? Or you expect to happen a certain way, and then you find out it's a lot more difficult than you had expected, and you have to persevere through that. You have to keep making your way through and not give up. All right, straddle position. We're not going to stretch for as long today because I want to get into the class. Another way to do is going to take a great amount of flexibility. So we're bottom left and right. So when you're persevering through something, a lot of times you're kind of wanting to quit, or maybe the end result's not as valuable to you anymore, you're losing interest, and you have to still kind of push yourself through it. Maybe you thought, man, I'm going to do this job, it's going to be easy, so you get a job, and then also you find out the job's a little harder than you wanted, it's going to take more time to earn that money that you wanted, but you keep doing it anyway. So that's perseverance. So I want you to think in the next 12 months of jiu-jitsu training, what are you going to have to persevere through? Is it a new stance, a new technique, a new level? Where maybe it's a little bit harder, the competition a little bit harder? Is it the tournament season? What, maybe other sports or other job activities that keep you away? What are you gonna have to persevere through? So this week, just kind of figure out the next 12 months, what's gonna be a little bit difficult, what do you already know you're gonna persevere through, and the next couple weeks we'll kind of talk about an action plan for doing that. All right, let's go on our back, let's pull our knee across our body, stretch out our back real quick, go one way, give it a little pause, then the other way, stretch it out again. Pause. Now we're going to roll back and try and touch our toes behind us. So we swing back, touch our toes behind our head, get that neck stretched out, start to walk from shoulder to shoulder. So out to your right, out to your left, walking around a full circle motion. All right, knees loose, so flat on your back. Let's do some egg beaters. So you just take those feet, make some circles, and try and get some circles the opposite direction. All right. All right, relax. So now, what we're going to be talking about today is something called reverse side control, right? Or reverse position. So normally in side control, we go belly down on top of people. Today, we're going to be going belly towards their feet. And I'll show you some reasons and then some fun stuff, hopefully, if we get around to it, that we would want to use this stance. So essentially what happens, if I have Mr. Anderson down, I'm going to face my head this way. So I'm going to have your feet go that way. There you go. That way you guys can see what it is I'm talking about. So what happens, normally I'm in a side control position here. I'm underneath his head, I'm underneath his arm, and I'm controlling. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my head arm, my north arm, I'm going to pass it over and hug his shoulder, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my right hand, block the hip, and I'm going to gonna switch my feet, okay? So my inside leg, right, which was my north leg, now on the south side, is gonna be kicked out. And my other leg, what was my south leg, now my outside leg is gonna be behind me. Because a lot of times in this situation, he's gonna be searching for his underhook, and he's gonna be trying to bridge and drive back and rotate his body out, right? So we don't wanna get bridged on. So when I have this position, I'm in his armpit, and I'll show you a couple angles before we get repetition. And I'm here and I'm blocking the hip. Now I might start to grab onto the knee because I can push. If he tries to turn towards me, it makes it a lot harder for him to use. But this leg here is gonna come back. So if he starts to bridge into me, this leg's gonna handle it. It's gonna use to push. So if he tries to go, I keep this shoulder flat down. Okay, so we'll change angles. So I'll have you put your feet here, sir. But here we'll kind of do the 90-degree turns. All right, so get him in a side control position. Get this arm up. I switch and I hug his shoulder tight. I get good head control on him. I'm gonna put pressure, so I'm taking my hip and keeping pressure on this arm. I don't want this arm to come between me and set up a frame. So I keep pressure on this arm. I scissor my leg under, my leg comes back. From here I can start to control legs. If he tries to turn towards me, it'll be a lot harder to do. He's gonna try to shoot this underhook and bridge. My right foot's gonna control, and I don't want this shoulder coming up and driving into me. So when he drives up into me like this, that's not gonna be what I want. So we're trying to keep pressure down here. So as he drives, I keep pressure down on that leg. Okay? So one more time. One more 90-degree. Hopefully this will give you a good angle. And then we're gonna see if you can get some repetition. So I have my side control position. I've got the arm. I've got the head. I might have my grips. Might just have a uniform grip. I'm going to cross over, elbow tight, hook the shoulder, pressure into the arm, extend, scissor my feet. This leg is stopping. That underhook and bridging motion. Right, so this foot stops him. Where if this foot's over here and he bridges, it's just going to knock me off balance and out of the way. Okay, so if you understand what we're trying to do, I want you to jump in and follow Mr. Anderson through his repetitions. We'll have him go a total of 10 times. So if 2 people are doing this, then do 5, and then on the second 5, switch to the other person to do 5. And then actually what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna pause because we've got live people. And we're gonna check out the live people, then we'll come back for the non-live people. Hopefully we'll do a few more repetitions during that time. Okay, so ready? Mr. Anderson gets his side control. He's got a tight head and tight arm control. He's keeping this arm because if he doesn't have that arm tight to this arm and he starts to switch around, I'm gonna be getting my underhooks to be forward. So he wants to keep this real tight. Then he swifts his arm over, gets underneath, keeps real tight control. Remember, right now you should be doing repetitions with Mr. Anderson, and if you do more than him, that's great. Right? He's gonna start blocking hips, he's gonna start to switch, and he gets that back foot back. So when I try bridging into him, that foot's controlling. So partners try to bridge. Shoot for that underhook, right? Trying to get that arm in, or he can start to control my legs. He starts to stop me from going. All right, so that's 1. Keep it up. If you're ahead of us, that's okay. Switches the arm, scissors the hips. Yep, you can also grab my knee to control my knee. If he grabs and straightens out my leg, it's kind of worthless, right? If I can start to use my leg to move in position, I can start to do things so he just controls that leg and doesn't let me move. 2. 3. We're going to rotate angles. 2, 2, 2, 2. Four. One more time, and then you guys will be switching partners. And 5. So you guys switch partners, and I'll have Mr. Anderson switch. I'll just move forward. You can do the other side. Remember, grabbing, switching over, controlling the arm, switching and scissoring the hips. Good. Using that leg, so I'm trying to bridge, I can't go anywhere. 1. 2. 3. 3. Rotate. 2 more. One more. Last one. And 5. All right. So at this point, you're not one of the live people. I want you to get a few more reps. We're going to pause you, and then we'll be right back. Welcome back. So we understand what this reverse side control looks like, and let's kind of look at something I would use it for. So to best demonstrate this, Mr. Anderson put his head here and his feet over here. So we're going to kind of go diagonal across the room a little bit. So I'm going to be in his armpit. I've got a shoulder hug. My knee is going to be close. Now, something to think about is if I'm sitting down here by his belt, he can start to sit up behind me. See how he can start to sit up? He just sits upright. Nope, don't even strip out, just sit up. He can sit up. That's not very good. He can create space. So I don't want him to be behind me. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to scoot. So if I'm sitting here, I'm going to try and scoot farther up to his armpit. I want to get this arm as close to his ear as I can. So when I'm sitting on him like this, I'm starting to scoot backwards. Now his arm, if you look at this, his arm is smashed into his face because I'm sitting up very high by his shoulder. So I don't want to sit down here by his belt. I scoot back until I'm very tight against his shoulder. So let's change angles again, sir. So now I'm going to put your head over here. So let's look at this again. I don't want to be here like this because he'll start to sit up and just grab onto me. Yep, there we go. And this is not going to be very fun for me. So I scoot. See, I scoot up really high. I'm sitting up very high, tighten his arm against his face. He doesn't like this. So make sure you're not sitting down here by the belt. I want you to start to sit up really high in their armpit. All right, now we're going to change back to where we just were. There we go. I'm going to put your head more towards the way. That's perfect. We'll scoot back this way. All right. So next, let's look at this situation. Why do we want to be there besides just being in a position to annoy our partner, right? So I've got the shoulder hooked. I'm in his armpit. I got my left knee controlling his hip. I have this like very close to him because I don't want him to create space right here. Anyone who owns this little bit of space on the side of his hip is the person winning. If his knee's there, he's winning. If my knee's there, I'm winning. So I'm going to go here like this. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to tap his knees. Right? So I'm tapping a knee, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go after. So I'm going to start to pull on this knee, which I don't actually care about. I'm going to pull on this one and then quickly switch to this one. I'm not going to try to pull his leg across. If I pull across, he'll fight outward. He'll fight me on it. Because when I do something, he assumes it's bad for him, so he'll fight on it. So the first thing I do is I pull up. I pull up. Which way is he kicking now? He's kicking that way, which means when you push one direction, you usually don't have power 90 degrees different. So if I pull like this way, he'll kick straight out. When he kicks straight out, like this, or it's kicking straight out, I pull him across. Now I take my leg, watch here, and I make a hook with my leg. So I just hook his leg. And then I can start to then turn myself over to the top and start to get my controlled position for mount. Okay, so I want to make hooks. So I use my little heel like a spur. So I'm here, I'm controlling, I start to move his legs, I move him this way so he fights, I start to pull up and pull across, and I make a hook. Once I make the hook, I get my knee attached to his hip, because I don't want his arm here. If his arm's here and he gets underneath my leg, he can then start to turn and get underneath my leg and kick it over his head. Right, so I don't want him in there, I want to take up that space on the other side of his body. So we're going to be in the armpit, we're going to scoot up north, we mess with his legs, pushing, pulling. I grab this one, quickly hook. I get my knee strong, and I stay close to him, nice and low, and I get to my mount position. Okay, pretty simple so far. So if you don't have it, feel free to watch Mr. Anderson do some repetitions. If you have it, keep going on your repetitions. We're going to do a total of 5 on each side, and I want each person to do 5 with him. If you're doing 2, if it's only one person, just do all 10 yourself. Okay? All right, so Mr. Anderson's going to take charge. And we're going to get going. So if you understand how this works, get started. Yep, gets his controlled position immediately. Scoots back, in, starts to grab at the legs. And starts to control, yep, pulls up, and then across. Hooks, drives his knee by hip, and starts to get into controlled position. You see how this knee stayed on my hip the whole time, because I'm going to be looking to get something in between him and that leg, so I can start to move. So he controls that hip space. Remember, whoever controls that hip space is the winner. Now, for the people who understand mount control, think of your hooks. If you're going across their body and we start to try to roll you, that trailing hook has to go in right away. If we start to trap you and try and push you back, your new hook is used. So you can also think about your hooks. So that's 2. If you're ahead of us, that's okay. More reps is better. Here comes 3. Comes 4. And 5. All right, we do from the other side. One. Remember, this should be our second person now. Good. Has that hook in right away. It makes it hard for me to do stuff. 2. 3. 4. One more time. And 5. All right, so those are our step overs. That would be a mount using a step over for reverse side control. And we can get into more details on some of the things that we can be running into, but right now we want to see our live people, see how well they're doing with this new skill, and then we'll come back to the people non-live. Welcome back. Hopefully you did some more repetition, not just our live people doing it. You're going to run into problems with people blocking you, and I could actually show you some submissions that are real fun against that for leg submissions, but that's not the focus of today. So he's going to go on his back first, and it really doesn't matter what side. I'll figure out this works for me. So I'm here, I got the arm, I got my hip back, and he's going to start to like bring up his leg, right? He starts to bring up his leg, and this could become a problem, right? So that's why we kind of bring this one across so we can hook both. So if he starts to bring up his inside leg, right, instead of trying to now decide to attack this one, I'm still going to work on just bringing this one across and using this to block that leg, and then bring my kicking leg, my kickstand leg back over the top. So that makes it pretty easy. But if he's here, right, and he's bringing his leg, I can also grab my foot. See how this works? And I can just do that. I can grab my foot. Now, depending on your flexibility, some of this might not be easy. But if he's here and he's using this leg, I can usually just kind of push. If I stiff arm, usually people's muscles in the lower core muscles aren't strong enough to push. If he brings his knee out and he starts blocking, right, I can usually just push it back down by stiff arming. He might put his foot on top of this leg, right? So now I can't push, but now I just push to the floor. And then I can start to then block this one and come over the top. But one of the options I want you to practice if you have the flexibility is watch as he starts to get his knees up, starts to try to bring his legs up. I just grab onto my toe, right? I just grab my toe and I just put my leg over like so. Or if he's flat on his back, he's bringing his knee up, right? He's bringing his knees up real close. I can just fish my foot through. See how that works? I just grab my toes. Because if I just try to do that without grabbing, if he brings his knees up, and I try to do this without grabbing, it doesn't work. Watch, if I grab my toes and I've been working on my stretching, my butterfly stretch, look at, whoop, right on by. And he can stop it if he wants. So he brings his legs up and he stops it. And look at this. Yeah, I just go right through. Keep this arm away from my leg, pivot, right into my mount position. Hooks are ready. So what I want you to practice doing is grabbing your foot and lifting it over to help. So using your hand to put it where you want. Also grabbing your toe and trying to push your toe through. Okay, so Here's what you're gonna do. I'm gonna have Mr. Anderson do a couple reps. You can copy with him. And then what we'll do is we'll pause, and we'll say live people. We're only gonna do 3 for each person, so a total of 6 reps. And then you guys can kind of see how it works. Okay, so Mr. Anderson's gonna take this side of me. He'll do 3, and we'll do other person 3, unless you're just the only one doing the drill. So I start to bring my leg up, right? He grabs onto his toes and just pulls it like a butterfly stretch over the top. Yep. There you go, right into the side of the hip, and can use it to climb. And also, if you're holding your toes, you can kick it like straight up in there. So you can just kick it straight up in there, and I'll bring it across over the top of my hip. Yeah, and then start to put it in place. So you can get right across that leg. You can also practice with your person pulling their knee up, and you just push it down. Just push it straight down. Yep, good. If I start to try to put it on my leg first, now I can just pull to the side instead. Yep, and then start to go over. Or if both my knees are here, he just grabs his toes and tries to fish it underneath my leg. Yep, just kicks it right across. Boom. Nice. All right. Let's see the other person do 6, or 3. Okay. What side does he want? Where do you want to be? Right there? All right. So now, remember, if he's sitting by my belt, he's less flexible. So the farther up into my armpit he sits, the more flexible he's going to be to try and get his leg across. So now when I'm trying to block and he grabs his toes, it's actually really easy the higher up he goes to put that foot through. So he can grab his toes with his hand and help himself get through. Right, so the higher up he sits, the better advantage for him, and the more irritated it is on my shoulder. So you just grab your foot instead of just stepping over. Makes it a little bit easier. If I bring my knees up, he can start to push. That's going to make it one thing. He can also now start to take his foot and just thread it through. He just grabs his toes and pushes it right in front of my leg. Oh, not between my feet. That'd be bad. There you go. Bam. Awesome. So hopefully that kind of helps. We're going to pause real quick and watch live people give a little feedback. And then we're going to jump back in and show one more thing today. All right. So I got one more thing. We don't got a ton of time to do it, but I want to show it to you. So in this position here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my own uniform and I'm going to feed it through and choke Mr. Anderson with. I'm not going to stick it in his mouth. That'd be unsanitary. I'm going to put it through and choke him with it. So we'll show you how this works. So he goes down. We'll be on this side so you can see. So I'm going to be in this reverse position. And most likely he's going to be bridging into me. Remember when he's bridging in, he's trying to get free. And so what I'm going to do is during this time, I'm going to keep him, so he can't really see what's going on. Can you see what my hand is doing, sir?
No, sir.
Yeah, he can't see very well, right? So I've got him around. Watch. I take my lapel, one on the same start as my arm that's free. I go like this, and if he's bridging into me, right, I put it here like this, in my mouth, because he can't see that, right? Now, if his arm's not tight, if his arm's tight to my body, yep, so boom, I just fish it in. If it's not tight to my body, then I would just bring it up over the top. But in any case, let's say his arm's real tight, I go here, I fish it up, I grab it. See my north hand grabs it? Now I grab his shoulder and I drive myself back down to flat. See what I just did? I took my arm and I fed it down here. So now it's on the side of his neck, so I'm gonna pull it tight. You feel the pressure, sir? Yes. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start to flatten out. I'm going to turn this way. Choked him by accident. I'm going to get nice and flat, and then from there to get the choke, what I'm going to do is lift my elbow up, and I'm going to get up into a tripod position. And it just chokes the snot out of him. There's a little snot out. I saw it come out. Choke the snot out of him, right? So again, I'll show you again. So we're here. I'm switching. I'm getting heavy. He's pulling his arm through. He's trying to bridge. I'm using my right foot to stop this motion. I'm keeping his shoulder down. Look, I just fished it through. I hand it to my hand. If his arm's real tight, I don't want to have my arm right here where he's grabbing onto my arm. So what I'll do then, in that case, if it's real tight to me, is I'll take it, I'll just bridge a little bit, I bite it. Okay? Oh, here. Now I get in my north hand. I create the pressure. I still keep it. I bring this down to the side of his neck. My hand's underneath. So from this position, the uniform's choking this side. My forearm chokes the other side. So I put my head by his belt. So I rotate, put my head by his belt. A lot of times I'm going to get this choke right here by staying low. All I have to do if I'm not getting it is lift my butt and pull up. Right, pretty easy. What did Mr. Anderson do to me so you can see it? And then hopefully through repetition, a couple angles, you guys will get it. If not, maybe we'll do a whole nother lesson on skirt chokes. All right, so let's see what angle is going to work best. Let's go from right here so they can see this angle. So he's up my armpit, right? Right away, I'm trying to fish for this underhook. I'm trying to bridge and knock him over so his right foot holds. He gets his own skirt end out, the lapel, right? Gets it out. So he's going to have to try to create a little bit of space and fish it underneath my elbow. Puts it in his teeth for the time being. Now he reaches back around my arm and grabs it again. Now he's got it. So now he feeds it to his other hand and starts to turn back flat onto his back again. Fishes underneath my other arm like normal. Yep, flat down, belly down. Now he pulls it underneath my head. Now watch where he puts his head. He puts his head over on the side of my hip. Puts his hand flat on the ground. He can start to just flatten his body out. He might get the choke right there. That might happen. If he's not, he puts his knees down and his butt up. He bridges. He starts to create a tripod. And if you have to create a tripod, that's okay. It'll start to get that choke. All right, let's do one more angle. So Mr. Anderson's got, why don't you go this side, sir? So he's in my armpit. He backs up. You can see this angle a little better. He pulls his uniform out. He fishes it underneath my arm. Now he pulls it back up from the other side. Yep, there we go. So now he gets back through. Now watch what he does. See this arm here? He's going to put this under my head right now. He might not be able to hold the gi, so his right hand holds the gi tip right now. He's got it. It's actually a whole other class what you do on controlling that arm. Now this hand fishes underneath my hand. Now he just hands it off. That's perfectly fine, that order. Now he just moves his head to the other side of me, blocks my hip with his right hand. Because if he doesn't block my hip and he starts trying to move there, I'm going to follow him because I don't want to get choked. So let's go back. So he blocks my hip with his right hand. Now as he starts to rotate, I can't go with him. I have to stay behind. And now he gets the choke, or if he has to, it creates a bridging motion. It fires his arm through. So again, one more great reason for learning how to do reverse side control. So at this point, we're going to quickly pause and check out the live people, see if they can figure this choke out, and then we'll be right back. So stick around. Partners up. Let's get up on our feet. So we worked on the reverse side control, and we can work a whole bunch of things off this, but sometimes that position is kind of nice for just controlling and holding someone down. I like to use it for the step over method of getting to mount. That step over method is kind of fun to do. And it's kind of nice because you're smushing your partner's arm into the head. They don't really like being there. So usually when you step over, they're pretty relieved that you got out of it. And then we try to show you just real briefly a skirt choke, just to show you there's a lot of reasons to get good at that position. So there's more fun things you can actually get submissions right out of there from, okay? So that would be your reverse side control position. And then just a real quick look at a skirt choke from a more north and south position. All right, so thanks for joining us today. Let's come to a change of position. Back straight, let's have a good bow, add a high five, and thanks for joining us.